or good to go. Hang on. Okay, perfect. So we're good to go. I think we've been in the right spot the whole time. So hopefully everybody's still with us. But
All right.
like you were saying, you came back to UNH after being here as an undergrad and went away for a little and are now doing honors. So I'll let you take it from there.
Sure. I'll just talk a little bit about the honors program. So I know we might have some admitted students who are listening or students who are thinking about college in the future. So for the honors program, the overview is that it's an academic experience that sort of goes more in depth and a little bit more enhanced for students that are looking for that kind of challenge and rigor. And it's built into what you already do as a UNH student in a lot of ways. So it's not necessarily more or additional things, but we do try to be as flexible as possible to help you sort of create the path that you're looking to have. So an overview is in your first couple of years, you'll take some core discovery courses or just general education courses that all students take, but you'll take them with all other honors students. So you have small discussion-based courses to start out. And then from there, you'll move into one of two tracks. So you get to choose whether you want to do upper level courses in your major as honors, kind of get more in depth into those upper level topics, or if you want to do what we call the interdisciplinary track, and you're going to do things outside of the classroom, such as study abroad or an internship program in Boston or DC, or participate in research, and maybe you're going to present at a conference, for example. So you can do that track where those things will count for your honors curriculum. And then the final piece is senior year. After you've gained all of this knowledge and experience, you put it all together in an in-depth research project called your senior honors thesis, and you work with a faculty mentor on that. So that's sort of an overview of the program.
Yes, and I should have said at the beginning, one of the reasons that I'm on here with Kristen is that I am in the honors program. So I am on the interdisciplinary tracks. And as Kristen said, because I'm a senior, that means I'm in my second semester of my thesis. So we will kind of dive maybe a little bit deeper into each of those things, but maybe we can sort of start back at the beginning and sort of work our way through the process. So sure. In terms of being admitted into the honors program, I know that there's a few different ways that happens. Do you just want to touch on those options for people, especially if there's some admitted students watching who have been admitted to UNH, but not to the honors program?
Absolutely. Great question. So we have multiple points of entry. So it's an automatic review process during the general admission process. There's not an additional application or anything. And so based on certain criteria that's set by the admissions office, you might be automatically admitted to come in as a first year student. If you were not automatically admitted, we have an entry point after your first semester once you're at UNH. So that means you get to kind of start fresh, have your first year, and if you do well in your first semester and you are in the top 10% of your college division, we will automatically invite you at that point too. So those are the two entry points for the 4-year program. And then for some students, depending on what they're looking to do while they're here, they're looking to just do the second half of the program, which is the honors within the major portion. So there's another entry point sort of end of sophomore year, beginning of junior year, where students can just focus on those upper level in-depth courses and the thesis as well.
Awesome. I know that that's sometimes a big thing is people feel like they really could be great in the honors program and they want to get involved, but maybe coming straight out of high school, their like high school GPA doesn't really hit the mark. So important for people to know that there are plenty of opportunities to get involved throughout your time at UNH.
There are, and if I can just jump in real quick on that, Laura,
yeah.
We are a really open, accessible office. So please email us, please call us. You know, we have a lot of students who are like, I didn't get in right at that point, but I'm still really interested. Where we're at right now is that we have to wait and see how many students come into the program because, you know, we don't know exactly how many students are going to end up coming. So we don't know how many spots we have, but depending on how this goes through spring and summer, you know, we always encourage students to write to us. There's an application process to be able to get in as well. So we've had students who've come in as transfer students, or they just show a lot of interest, they do an application, and on a case-by-case basis, we'll always be willing to talk with you as well about the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for me and for more or less all students who join, like you were talking about, the university honors program. So not just honors and major as an upperclassman, but the people who do join either right at when they're admitted to UNH or in like that first semester, they do honors discoveries. And that's kind of the like first step, the first thing to hit. So if you want to give a little overview of what that is, then I'm more than happy to share some of my stories from my 4 honors discoveries and give a few examples.
That would be great. Yeah, I think it'll be more interesting to hear from you and your experiences. But from so yes, exactly what Laura said, 4 of your courses will be small honors discovery courses, 20 students or fewer. And it's much less of a lecture style class, much more of a, in theory, if we're in person, sit in a circle and have a discussion, or have small breakout rooms on Zoom, whatever that looks like. Really engaging. So students do the reading outside, come in prepared to discuss. And I think what students love about it is that they get to know each other. It's a great place to get to know people in the honors program who might be in completely different majors or colleges. And so you get to know people from all across the university, and then you might see them in other classes. And so that's how you start to build relationships. And I think the other thing people love is these are classes in all different areas. So you might be an engineering student, but you get to take a fine and performing arts class or a historical perspectives class. And so a lot of times I hear students say, I didn't know if I was going to be interested in history, and yet this was one of my most engaging classes, and I got to see the ways that it connects. For example, right now we have a course that's about different scientific revolutions through history. So it's a historical perspectives class, but it's connected to science through history. So that's sort of a bringing different topics together. So students tend to really like the topics that we have.
Yeah, I think my honors discoveries have been some of my favorite classes that I've taken here. I did my historical perspectives. I took a class called Martin Luther King and the Struggle for Racial Justice, which I really loved. And Kristen's definitely right that a huge benefit of those discovery courses is that they are smaller and they are very much so discussion based. And even now I have not in my honors discoveries anymore, but I actually am a discussion assistant for that Martin Luther King course on Zoom, and it's still very much so discussion based. So that hasn't gone away even with the virtual format. Obviously things are a little bit different, but that was a great course. That was the first honors course I took, and I actually ended up in a couple more classes with those students and got to become friends with them. And a lot of them are way outside my majors. So it is a great way to kind of meet other people. I also took a really interesting discovery in the business school called The Meaning of Entrepreneurship. And that was a really great class. It's another small one. We had 2 professors. And what was really, really nice is that we were each paired up with a mentor in the community that is an entrepreneur. So I was paired with the executive director of a nonprofit, Girls on the Run, New Hampshire. And I was able to work with them throughout the semester, learn from them about what they do and how they started their organization, and also go to events with them and sort of see different things, see their office space, talk to the people they work with. And others were able to do the same sort of in a completely different field. So it's not just a class at all for like nonprofits. People worked with a local bookstore or a tech startup or something like that. And it was a really cool way to kind of get out into the world without you're not even at like the internship level or anything like that. It's just built into the class. So that was an awesome one as well. And the professors that teach the honors courses, I would say, are really invested. I think they really enjoy the honors courses because they're smaller and a lot of times are on a topic that's really specific to them, like something they really like teaching about. So I think it's great for the professors and it's great for the students, and it creates a awesome kind of class environment. And so if you finish your 4 discoveries, then you kind of start splitting off, like Kristen was saying, either for interdisciplinary or for honors and major. So for me, I chose the interdisciplinary track, and my 3 kind of high impact experiences before my thesis were a research project that I did sophomore year. In the fall of my junior year, so last fall, I spent a semester in Washington, D.C. interning, which is a program that Kristen mentioned. And then in the spring, I went abroad for a semester. And so that was another high impact experience. And that is something I really loved about the honors program. Those were all things that I knew I wanted to do and would honestly have been a little bit challenging to work into a schedule if I was taking upper level courses in my major as honors. So to be able to kind of just dedicate myself more towards the high impact experience and not worry about the honors and major and still be getting the honors experience was really great. But I do know that honors and major, I actually don't know. I assume honors and major, Kristen, is still the more popular choice. There's more people going that route.
Yeah, I think I think they're designed to try to meet different students depending on what type of student you are. And so I would say the majority of people are doing the departmental honors or honors in major track. More so that's the longer running one. And so I would say interdisciplinary is growing every year, but it is for the student who's looking to take initiative to find those experiences, or who are already thinking, I'm going to come to UNH, but I'm excited to do some of these other things outside of the classroom. Whereas for other students, they might have a goal that they're thinking in the future, I'm looking toward this type of career. And so if I'm in these classes and I can go more in depth in those, that's going to give me the experience I need for that. So right now, there are more students who do the departmental honors or honors in major, but I think that's just based on what people are looking to be able to do while they're here.
Yeah, I would definitely promote interdisciplinary honors to anyone and everyone. I really loved kind of getting to do both and taking the honors courses while I was here on campus for my first 2 years, and then getting to kind of go and try all of these new things. And then the last step, like Kristen already said, is sort of wrapping up with a big thesis, kind of like a capstone project, essentially, which can be 1 semester or 2. But I think for me, one of the things I've really enjoyed about it is getting to kind of circle back and work really in depth with a professor again, who's, I think, does interesting work. And for me, it's a professor who I've worked with in the past a lot, and kind of taking initiative and doing your own project. So I know there are some really, really cool examples of theses that people have written in the past. I'm doing mine. I don't even know if I said my major at the beginning of this, but I'm a sociology and justice studies dual major. So my thesis is on nationalism and patriotism in college students, and the influence that has on their knowledge and opinions of foreign affairs. So kind of also ties in my Middle Eastern studies minor, but you can really make it whatever you want. For me to pick that topic, I did not go to a professor. That sounds great, let's do it. So it really is something that you have a lot of control and a lot of say in, which is very nice.
Absolutely. I think just to echo, oftentimes when I talk to students who come into the honors program, they're really excited about the opportunities, but also very nervous about what the thesis means. And it feels a little daunting and overwhelming. What does it even mean to do research? And I think exactly what Laura said, you build on your experiences as you go. You get to know professors in your classes. And I do a lot of advising with students when they're thinking about their thesis. Let's start with what you've really cared about the most and what you've learned. What's made you the most excited? Who are the professors you've had the best connections with? Let's start with those things and build the topic from there. And the amazing part about having a one-on-one faculty mentor is you set up weekly or bi-weekly meetings with them, and every week you're checking in. Where am I in the process? I have no idea how to do this. Where do I start for a literature review? What types of keywords should I be using in my searches to find the materials that I'm looking for? And so you really get a lot of that support along the way. And I know for myself, when I finished my thesis, I looked back and was like, I can't believe I just spent the year doing that. And here's this amazing thing that I wrote, and I had all these experiences along the way. So when you really break it down, research means creating new knowledge. And there's so much new knowledge to be created, and it totally depends on what you're excited to do. As Laura said, there's so many interesting topics. I was actually going to try to look up some and give examples, but I know we have a student that's looking at executive orders and the use of that through the past however many presidencies. That's a political science student as well. We've had students in fine and performing arts who do a senior display. What's the word I'm trying to say? Not display, but
like portfolio,
yes, and it's on display in the art museum or wherever. Music students who do a senior recital, so it looks very different depending on your major. And we've had, I wish I could think of other specific topics, but anyways, all across the board, all different areas of study. Whatever one student a couple years ago was in history, I think, and her topic was looking at the historical accuracies and inaccuracies in Hamilton, the musical. So, all over the place.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive how broad the range of topics is every year. Okay, so then once you do your thesis, you graduate with honors. So we've sort of worked our way through the 4 years, but there are sort of quite a few other little pieces and parts to the honors program that we can talk about in these last few minutes or last 10 minutes. One is something that you've sort of touched on throughout, but that's honors advising. So for those of you who don't know, when you come to UNH, if you know your major and you've applied into that program, you will have an advisor in that program. If not, you'll have a dedicated undecided advisor, which is an amazing resource to help you kind of figure things out. But if you're in the honors program, on top of that, you also get an honors advisor. So it's another kind of support person. It's another great sort of touchstone for you each semester to talk about what classes you're taking and what you're interested in, and internship opportunities and study abroad and stuff like that. But for me, that's definitely been a huge benefit in the honors program, is just kind of having that extra layer of support. I don't know, you've sort of already talked about meeting with students, but if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, definitely. Just to echo what you said, Laura, I think your primary advisor within your major is always going to know the details of what you need to do in your major, and also will be better equipped to let you know what are you interested in the future and what types of things should you be doing within your major now to prepare for that. I think our role is for students who are, for all students, but if you're thinking about double majoring or having a minor or going abroad and doing the Washington Center or kind of piecing together the whole academic experience, I think that's something that we work really hard to do with students. Let's really lay out your 4-year plan. Where can all this fit? How can all this work? Because we can see the bigger picture in a different way. So you have an advisor that's sort of zoomed in for you, and then an advisor that's zoomed out for you. And we're also here in the same building as the Hamel Center for Undergraduate Research and the Education Abroad office. And so we can literally walk you across and say, here, meet this person. They can answer questions about that. And so we really also try to serve as a connector to say, you're interested in the McNair program, you want to get a PhD, here's a great opportunity to get paid to do research during undergrad that will prepare you for that. So we really try to do a lot of those connecting, networking things as well.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of the kind of social extra housing type things about the honors program. So I know a big one, especially for anybody who's watching who's an admitted student, if you're admitted into the honors program, when you pick your housing, you do have the option of Hubbard Hall, which is not just for honors students. So anybody has the option of Hubbard Hall, but it is an honors living and learning community. So I'll let Kristen maybe give a few more details about that.
Sure, absolutely. So as Laura said, you are not required to live in Hubbard if you are an honors student, but if you would like to, you have first priority. So they give first priority to all honors students who select Hubbard, and then other students can also say, I'm looking to live in a themed hall that's related around academics. And so the great thing about Hubbard, students continue to say to us, it has a really great community. People's doors are open and they're friendly. There's a really big, the first floor is just study lounges, and then the living is on the upper floors. So the one side has a great study lounge with a fireplace, and one side is a great rec lounge with games and a pool table and a kitchen attached and all of that. So you have just great community spaces in the building, and a lot of good community with people that are really friendly, getting to know each other as well.
Yeah. I think Hubbard is I've been in and out. I didn't live there my freshman year, but I was in and out some because I know that the honors program also runs some like socials and events. And a lot of times those occur or like are based somehow in Hubbard. And that's another great benefit to honors outside of just your academic experience is sort of the social benefits. And we've talked about just meeting different people through the discoveries classes and kind of broadening your horizons that way. But there also are events every semester sort of concentrated on letting you connect with other people in the program. I don't know if Kristen has any specific examples of those to share, but there have been quite a few over the last 4 years. And even now when we're virtual, some stuff going on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we're doing our best to create ways to engage now in the COVID world. But before that, at least once a semester, we would have like a pizza with professors lunch where people would come and just get to hang out and chat with professors. We do like a welcome to the new students who join in January. We did a hot chocolate social the last time we were able to do a food social. Just come and mingle and hang out. I'll turn it back to you in a minute to talk about our summer engagement opportunity leading into coming into UNH. But we've done things where it's like a group of students, we have 20 tickets to one of the shows on campus, one of the theater productions. So tickets are $5, we'll subsidize them, come on, grab a ticket and go as a group to that, or one of the movies that's on campus, or organize a group to go to that. So some of it's just building into what's already happening on campus. There's this speaker, everyone, why don't we get dinner beforehand and go together? And then other things are things that we do try to create specific activities. So over winter break, as we came back to in January, we had an event called The Hunt, and it was a big scavenger hunt across campus. So you could form teams or sign up and we could help you get into teams. And there were 4 clues, and you had over 3 days, you had to solve the 4 clues. And then the winner won 12 cupcakes from this great cupcake place in downtown Durham, Sweetened Memories. So that's an example. We try to create activities that encourage engagement and also fun, because, we're all here. Our primary goal is education and to learn and get our degree, but we want to help you balance that as well and make sure you're just staying healthy, getting out, having fun, and all of that. So that's important to us as well. So, and the other thing to throw over to you, we started this last year. We are going to be doing again this year. We called it our EMU groups, our enrichment meetups. And it was voluntary for incoming students to join. And we had a program where you could get together 3 times over the summer. So we tried to keep it not too stressful, but with other students and with an upperclassman mentor. And Laura was one of our mentors. And just get together. You have an article or a short podcast to listen to, come and discuss, but really just take a chance to get to know each other before we all get on campus. So I don't know if you want to share anything about that.
Yeah, I personally loved facilitating in that program. I can't necessarily speak for what it was like to be a part of it, but it is a really great way. You're in a group. My group, I think, was about like 13 or 14 people. So not too many, but a good amount to kind of reach out and connect with others. I know when I give tours on campus, a huge question is like, how can I meet people before I get to campus? And this is a really great opportunity if it's something that's available to you. I led a social justice group. I know that there were 4 different topics, if I can think of them. I know one was like Epicurean escapades or something, like they talked about food.
One was a travel wanderlust,
right?
And a sustainability, leave no trace. Yeah.
Yes, great names too. But so it doesn't have to be on one specific, like you can pick something that's interesting to you. And we really did work to sort of find podcasts or articles or videos that were not too long, really engaging, kind of an interesting conversation, maybe a little more detailed or a different idea than what is always brought up in those fields, or is something super basic. So pushing a little deeper, and then we would get together and talk about what we read or listened to. But like Kristen said, also if the conversation goes down a path kind of off to one side or adjacent to what we're talking about, but everybody's really into it, if you're enjoying conversing with the other incoming honors students, it's worth it. So definitely something to check out. All right, I'm gonna check and see. Someone says on YouTube that they lived in Hubbard and their location is just steps from Philbrook Dining Hall, Philly, which is one of the 3 dining halls on campus, a very popular one, and the lounges are amazing. She says the acoustics in the stairwells are also perfect for playing guitar and singing. So there you go.
There you go. It is near a great dining hall. It's also really close to the 2 of the first year halls as well. So it's right next to Christensen and Williamson. So you are in a sort of a community there in that area.
Yeah, I would say Philbrook really like ties down quite the community around it between Williamson, Christensen, Hubbard. I know like the minis normally are at eating in Philbrook. So it's a pretty good spot for sure.
Yes.
Okay, well, we have just a couple more minutes. So I'm trying to think about if there's any other like common honors questions or aspects of the program to touch on. I think for anybody watching who is just sort of getting started with their process at UNH, whether you're just applying or you're admitted or you're first year now, the big message is that you can be involved in the honors program, even if you didn't, when you were admitted to UNH, get sort of a letter that said, come join us. There's a lot of other ways to do it.
Yes, and there probably are students this year who are wondering about that. So for now, if you're interested in wondering about admission to honors, I would reach out to your admission counselor. And we're inviting people. We're kind of holding a wait list for now in case we're able to make more offers. So do feel free to reach out to your admission counselor if you're interested, but also don't worry because there will be other entry points, as Laura said. So we're excited to meet you and have you on campus.
I definitely wanted to be in the honors program when I applied and was not admitted. And I joined after my first semester. So don't panic. Also, joining after one semester doesn't like put you behind in any way. So
it's not.
Don't
and
panic.
Look at you now.
Plenty
Look
of
at
opportunities.
everything you've
Look
done.
at me now. I'm gonna graduate.
Yay.
So yes, well, we are just wrapping up right at 4:30, so pretty perfect. Thank you to everyone that has been watching. This is also recorded, so we'll make sure that we get this out to whoever needs to see it somehow. Hopefully the YouTube live went well. It's working. It is live. People are watching. So thank you for being our first guest, Kristen. Absolutely. And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here.